Good, David? Good. Reminder, we're using mics today, so get my attention. I'll give you a mic, state your name and your affiliation, and go from there.
Just was visiting with Nikhil and Manny. They were up there with Coach Likens and just telling them that, all of a sudden we got a night game again, and we got to prepare ourselves for that time that you got to wait. We've been fortunate the last couple of weeks, but actually day games have been pretty good for everybody. I think you guys would attest to that. You like getting out early as well. Going to Oregon, that's going to be a late night home. It's going to be a late night home, obviously, but that's how it works. Our team is like all teams are a little bit beat up. And football is a game of nutrition, when you can keep guys healthy and you have obviously some depth on your roster that helps you. We last game had to put in some guys that hadn't played a whole lot, and it was good for them. Got their eyes were a little bit big when they had to go out there, but that could be the same thing this week. We don't know about all our injuries yet, but like all teams right now, everybody's a little bit beat up. So that's what we got to deal with. Questions?
Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. The last 3 games, the team has rushed for over 250 yards. The offensive line is putting up record numbers in terms of not giving up sacks. Is this really the ASU offense that you envisioned to take place in your first year in Tempe? Well,
they're starting to move in the direction we would like to become. Obviously, the intention is to win. Every time you step on the field, give yourself the best chance to win. And how do you do that? I always say it's about the players. What do the players do well? What do you feel strongly about? And what have you been productive with? And so far, you mentioned it. Now, I never anticipate running the ball almost 60 times in a football game. But if that's what works and helps us win, then we'll do that. I like the way we're running the football. It has a lot to do with the cohesion of the offensive line, their coach. Dave's done a fabulous job, and our commitment to run. Our running back has been fabulous. I don't think anyone could ever imagine he was going to put up some of the numbers that he's put up, but when you're around the young man and his work ethic and how he's in the office with the coaches when they're putting in the run game, and he understands exactly how the runs are going to fit and how the blocking schemes appear, he's able to make some runs that maybe other backs could not make because he understands the blocking schemes and understands where it's supposed to appear, and he does a great job of breaking tackles as well. So, yeah, I'm pleased with the run game. I'm an old-fashioned kind of coach. I think if you run the ball, you become a tough football team. So I got no problem with that.
Coach Tim Ring, CBS. There seems to be a fire in the belly of this football team right now. A confident group, and I know winning kind of breeds that confidence. Do you get the sense that this is a group now that can't wait to get on the field, and when they do take the field, there's a belief that they're going to win the football game?
Well, I would hope that. I think as an athlete, you better believe you have a chance to win. I mean, that's part of it. And I think the more you win, the more confident you become. But there's a lot of preparation in it. And I think when you're prepared, is the test difficult? Yeah, but you understand the test. When you're not prepared, you guess a lot. And that's when you make errors, whether it's in school or whether it's on the football field. And I think our coaches have done a nice job of preparing our players to some things that are going to transpire in the game, but then also adjusting. And I think that's the key to football. I mean, halftime on the sideline, our guys do a great job of adjusting to things. I mean, when you look at our game this last week, we got going early, and then all of a sudden we had a little lull, because they did some things a little bit different defensively, and we had to adjust to that. And I think the coaches did a fine job on the sideline. And then the players, their ability to adjust. Well, that's all through preparation. And I've always said, when you prepare, you have no fear of what's about to happen. You say, we've seen this before. We got an answer for the question. Move on. That's how we try to do things around here. Yes, sir.
Doug Howler with The Athletic. Herm, I just wanted to check on Merlin Roberts' status. Will he have to sit out the first?
He's staying with me. Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to stand with me. Baseball hat.
What kind of
let him get a couple of plays, call. He can do whatever he wants. But then as soon as he can go in, I'm going to send him in there real fast. Yeah.
Obviously, that's a pretty significant loss for the first half. What kind of situation does that put you in there?
Well, obviously we've got some players that will rotate in there, and we feel good about the guys that are going to football game. But it's when you lose a player of his magnitude, we know how he can play football. He's going to obviously earn some accolades when this season is over, being a freshman and some of the numbers this kid has put up. But we're well aware of that. I saw him after the game. It's kind of funny. I walked in the locker room. He's one of the first guys I saw, and he gave me a big hug. And I said, hey, he said, Coach, we won, as long as we won. And I said, yeah. I said, it'd be a lot funner if you were out there helping us win, though, And so, but look, that's one of those bang-bang plays. I tried to have a conversation with the official. He had, Coach, we got it. I said, okay, but I was trying to explain, but, I told Merlin, come stand by me. It's over. You got to watch it. So.
Coach Bobby Krause, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. Justin Herbert is arguably the top quarterback prospect that you've faced in conference this year. In your early preparation for Oregon, what do you see as the keys to contain him in that Duck offense?
Well, you have to not allow the quarterback to feel comfortable in the pocket. That's any good one, and he's a good one. He can throw the football anywhere on the football field. Nothing is out of his range as far as his accuracy, his ability to fit the ball in tight windows. He's a very good quarterback, and he has the ability to run too. He has some legs. He can make the unannounced play with his legs, but you have to make him uncomfortable. How do you do that? There's ways you try to do it. You want to keep him in the pocket, and you want to try to hit him. I mean, football's always been that way. When you can storm the castle, you got a chance. Can't storm the castle, it's going to be a long day. So we'll have to find a way to try to get to them. It's going to be hard because they're a good football team.
Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. Herm, as you've been into this job now for a little more time, are you starting to get a sense of how your experience in the NFL, Antonio Pierce, John Simon, how that resonates with players and their buy-in, just because you've been there, done that, I guess?
Well, it helps to have 5 guys that have played in the National Football League on your staff. That wasn't done by accident. I just think you have to know the mindset of young people that play football in today's world. They want to play on Sunday. And you got to understand that. And when we mentioned the pro model, that wasn't done by accident either. It's because this is what we do around here. And we want to put them in position to where they graduate. And if they're talented enough, they have been through a program that when they walk into a practice or into a meeting at the next level, they're well aware of what's going to transpire. And I think when you can do that and you build a culture like that, where you recruit players that have that ability and they go on and have success, that's your recruiting platform. That recruits for you. And any good team that continues to have those type of players, players gravitate to those guys. They gravitate to that system. They gravitate to that organization that says this is what they do. And we're all in with doing that. And that's just how we're going about our business as we continue to recruit. I think you guys will see in the next year or so the type of players that walk through these doors. And we're hoping that they leave here with a degree. That's very important. That's what I stress. And that they have an opportunity to play at the next level, because I think it's a wonderful level to play at. And I was in that league for 30 years as a player and a coach, and there's nothing like it. And it's the highest mark of football and brand of football you can ever play your whole life. And most kids want to do that. So why not build a platform that helps them to achieve that? But also when they leave here, they have a piece of paper that's worth something as well. And I think that's the whole deal. I've always told players, hey, don't allow football to use you. You use football. That's important. And if we understand that, then we're doing the right thing by the player.
Coach Blaine McCormick, 12 News. With this game going up to Oregon, you mentioned the night game, but also what about the weather? Because it's so much colder up in Oregon now that this time of year. How do you prepare for that here in Tempe and transition that to Oregon?
I don't talk about it. I didn't talk about we went to Colorado. I just said we're going to Colorado and play a football game. We're going to go to Oregon and play a football game. One of my daughters is excited about going up there because she likes the mascot. She likes the duck. I told her, I said, now you're not pulling for the duck, are you? She said, no, Daddy, I don't pull for the duck, but I like the duck. I said, okay, Vivian, you like the duck. I don't know. I like the duck. What do you tell a 12-year-old? No, you can't. I mean, okay, I get it. So, but no, I don't get into all that. You know, we'll check the temperature and all that. If it's going to rain or something like that, obviously we'll do something with some wet balls in the bubble. But I don't make a whole big deal out of that stuff. It's football. You play football. You don't worry about all that nonsense. You know, I've never seen too many games canceled now. You're going to play. And I played in some really cold games, and they don't cancel it. It's just like you play. And when you start talking about all that stuff, it's just, why? You're going to play, so why worry about it? Just go out there and play. You know, it's not like they're playing in the bubble and we're playing outside. We all got to play outside. It's fine. It's just like when people come here. You know, if you're a coach and I was playing Arizona State or Arizona, I wouldn't talk about the heat. You know, and worry about all that stuff. Why? Hey, we're going to play. No one cares. Just play football. Be all right.
Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. What would you say are the handful of things that have been the biggest things that you've done since you got here to allow this team to have the success it's having right now?
The things.
Yeah, since you got here, what do you think are the handful of things that you've done that have allowed you to, the biggest things that have allowed you to have the success you're having?
I would say hiring a good coaching staff, for one. Earning the players' trust. 2, being consistent. Having fun. I think you got to have fun doing this. You really do. It's too many hours if you're not having any fun. You know, and then just allowing players to have their own personalities. I'm not a guy to try to change personalities. I don't believe in that. I just think that there's a way that they all fit in that room. And I think the players really, look, the players from December to right now, they know who their coach is. I mean, I've got an open door policy where my door is never closed. It's always open. And there's so many players that come in there every day, unannounced. And we sit and talk. And I always told them, when you come here, I don't want to talk about football. We talk about football all day. Just come in here, let's talk. And they come in here and talk. I've earned their trust. And to me, that's the most powerful thing you can do as a person that has to make decisions. And that they understand that the things that I do, I have their best interests in mind. And like after the game Saturday, you know, we got here Sunday and we had all those recruits in, and I sent out an email to all the players, said, don't come in. You're off. I don't even want to see you in the building. Just go relax. And they, you know, and they were like, whoa, we don't have to come in, no. And it's amazing how many of them, they're showing up today. Because it's almost like, oh, coach, what happened? And nothing happened. I'm giving you a rest. You need to rest. Everyone needs, the coaches need to rest. You guys need to rest. Let us get the game plan in. We're going to talk about UCLA just a little bit, a little dab of it, and go over the corrections, and we're moving on. And I just think it's that time of the year where, you know, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over. There comes a point, and you know as a coach, that the players are tired, the coaches are tired, everyone's tired right now. But when you're in a race, how do you get more energy? And those are the things you got to figure out as a coach. You know, what am I going to change just a little to where they go, wow, okay. You'd be surprised how many players came in here today. I'm like, you guys lost? No, we just wanted to come over. Because there's so much in a routine when you give them something, you go, wow, coach gave us 2 days off. Yeah. But I'm going to expect a lot tomorrow. And they're going to realize that when I stand before them and tell them how we got to go about doing our work this week.
Hood Rubino Devil's Digest. Tyler Johnson's interesting story. Came here as a defensive lineman, was tinkered some at tight end last year. You wanted him to play on defense, went back to defensive line, now playing linebacker, playing at a high level, career tackles 2 games ago,
Yeah.
and last Saturday, 2 tackles for loss, another career high. Just talk about how significant he's been, and really with Merlin Robinson now being out, how significant that is.
Yeah, he has really been a fabulous player, and I can remember when I first took the job, he was one of the first players that walked in my office. One of the first players I sat down and had about a 30-minute conversation with him. And I said, look, here's the deal. I said, this is what we're going to do with you. And he looked at me like, I said, I'm just telling you this is what's going to happen. and you just listen to me and just trust me, and I got you. And we've got a pretty good relationship. You know, and he's been coached by AP now as his coach, and AP's done a great job with him. And we've kind of found out what he can do well, and he's doing it well. And if he continues to do it well, he's going to be one of the better players. Now he's got a lot of improvement. To me, he's a freshman. He didn't play last year. He had no role. You know, he's just kind of, because they were trying to figure it out, and we kind of figured out where he's going to play, and the system has helped him. But he's starting to grow up. And I think that year that he didn't play, and he watched all these other young guys having the ability to play as freshmen, that kind of got his interest where, hey, if you compete, you do the right thing, you're going to be one of the guys. And he is one of the guys. He is a force on defense for us. And he's another young player, and that's good for us.
Herm, Tim Healy, ASU Radio. I wanted to ask you, piggybacking off a question Chris asked a few moments ago, certainly one thing I know you want to do in this program, as you said, is to help prepare guys to play at the next level. And I think another thing that you and your program are trying to do are get better talent to Arizona State. And in that vein, I wanted to see if you could talk about Al Luginbill and the role that he plays and what you saw in bringing him in to help this program move forward.
Well, Coach Luginbill and myself, we go way back. I mean, long time ago. It's ironic, when I was on television and they asked me to coach the Under Armour game, the high school All-American game down in Orlando, Al was a part of the committee that obviously found players. And so that friendship rekindled for about 8 years because I coached that thing for about that long. And when I decided, and the parties, the powers to be, decided, well, this is the direction we're going. I'm going to accept the head coaching job here. I told them, I said, well, understand what I'm getting ready to do. And we understood it was going to be a pro model. And they said, how are you going to do this? I said, it's real simple. I said, I got a pro personnel director that I'm going to hire. And he said, who's that? I said, Al Luginbill. And Al was, it's great because Al lived here. So it kind of worked. You couldn't make it up. This guy lived here. And I said, Al. He said, when you need me? I said, tomorrow. And so he comes over, and we start talking about how we're going to build it and the model of the type of players we want and the DNA. And I can remember every day, he's doing his deal, and I'm trying to hire coaches to do this. He'll call me from home, 5 o'clock in the morning. I give him my call from Al. Here's what I'm working on. I said, all right, Coach, I'll see you a little later on today. And I'm glad you asked that question because I told the staff today, and Al was sitting in there. I said, I took this job in December, about the 20th, somewhere right around in there. And the first thing I knew, I had, lists of players, and I was going to L.A., and I was I was all over the place, going into kids' homes. And I'm kind of trying to figure out who they are. And, Al's working in the background, and like I said, it started like that. And the coaches we were hiring coaches, and we're saying, look, we're going to build this formula of how we're going to do things and how we're going to recruit players and the DNA and how we're going to do all this. And our coaches are looking at us like, what are these guys talking about? I said, just relax, it's going to work. So this weekend, we probably had our biggest recruiting weekend with official visits and unofficial. We had 30-something kids here. Very talented from Arizona, from obviously here and, in California, wherever they were. Can't mention names, I know that. But from where I started to Saturday, it's like, wow. And I think the coaches as well, because we now see our hard work paying dividends. And hopefully some of these kids that were here this weekend will put Sun Devil suits on for us. And we're excited about that too. So it'll change. I mean, I think you guys will see it. The next couple of years, you'll see the type of players that wear those uniforms. So can't thank Al enough.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, can you update us on the injuries, specifically on DeMonte and Harvey? And I'm assuming DeMonte was an arm or a shoulder.
Yeah, he had a shoulder, and he probably could have gone back, but he did not, and we suggested he did not. We got some guys that have played hurt. You can play hurt, you can't play injured, and that's football. The physicians have the final say, Both those guys, what's good about tomorrow, there's no pads. We're not hitting anybody tomorrow. And so I think they'll be prepared to practice. Now, can they play or not? We'll find out. I don't know that. But they will be able to practice. So that's a good thing. And then we'll go from there.
Herm, son of a source, Chris Carmen, what things have you learned at this point about your squad, about going on the road and playing in a hostile environment like Autzen will be?
Well, what I've learned is that in all those situations, we've been fortunate just to win one. It was a pretty special one to win. We've been very competitive. We haven't let the atmosphere get to us. When you think about the games we lost on the road, now all our games we lost by 7 points, I get that part. But even on the road against some pretty good teams when we played them. When we played Washington, they were a ranked football team. They were pretty good. Colorado was a ranked football team, and I believe when we played them on the road. And so we withstood it and got into the game, but just couldn't finish it off. SC was one where we ended up winning, but I've always said this, I used to love playing on the road. I just think when you take your guys on the road, there's no distractions. There's just kind of you guys, and you go, and it's a night game, so it's a longer time now for us. And you just wait around, you do things at the hotel, but I like going on the road. When I was in pro football, if we went anywhere from Midwest to come west, we left on Friday. We flat left on Friday, and the players loved it. And we won a lot of games going on the road now. So I just think that you got to build a culture of that, to go on the road and play, and you're going to walk into the stadium and they're going to be booing you and they're mad at you, and I just love it. It's all good, you just suck it all in, because you like to leave and it's real quiet. And you don't have to say anything. That's how you come in where they're raucous, and you like to leave and it's really quiet. And then you've done your job. And that's what's fun about being on the road.
Coach, what's being eligible for a bowl mean for you personally, and then also for your ability to build your program?
Well, I think it's critical, and that's a great question, in the fact that first-year head coach with a new staff, and you have this vision of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to become. It gives you some opportunities to bring along some more young players to coach. But also it says something that, hey, this is a team that is hopefully trending in the right direction. And it's good for the players, and especially the seniors. That's who you feel for, with these bowl games. Because, some of them have aspirations to play in football, the next level. Most of them will not be able to. So this is one more way of saying, hey, you're going to a bowl game, man. And it's something about being a bowl team. And I understand there's a lot of bowls now. I get all that. But still, I think it's good to do it because of all the things all the goodwill it brings you. And the players are excited about it. It's like if you're a senior, let's say a walk-on kid, you're going to go to a bowl game, man. That's pretty neat. You're a walk-on guy. You're not on scholarship. You don't play. You dressed one time for the most part this year. I try to dress at least 10 of them every game. But this one, I let everybody dress. And so now you get to go to a bowl game and participate in a bowl game. When you're 30 years old, 40 years old, and you're sitting around with your family and your kids say, oh, yeah, I played in that bowl, whatever. And there'll probably be a different name for it, but you played in the bowl. They always change these names. I get that part. But it's just fun. I think it's fun that you say, that you're bowl eligible. And I didn't realize. To me, it's kind of like, in the NFL, it's like getting in the playoffs. Can you get in the playoffs? There's a number. We always said, it's a race to 10 in the National Football League. It's a race to 10. And if you get to 10, then things start looking real good. You're probably going to get in the playoffs. If you win a couple more, you maybe can win a division. I've been in that before in my lifetime, and it's a lot of fun. College, if you win 6, that's always the number out there. That's the carrot. You get in, you're eligible, and if you win more, then obviously bigger bowls appear. So our players are well aware of that. It's a good thing.
Coach, when you've talked about throughout the year, obviously having a plan and the players, buying in and going forward, but offense and defense all year long for, we've got each other. How do you feel that, the offense has to put points up to win, but just the competition of the offense putting points up or the defense getting faster. How has that kind of helped in practice and just the mood of practice?
Well, I think that the mindset for these guys was let's make it competitive football amongst each other and let's get each side of the football better, And I think the way the season has kind of worked out, there's been times where we've had some pretty good defensive games, where the offense kind of maybe struggle some. Not struggle, but they look, put the point totals up, right? And so you sit there and your defense has done some things where they get some confidence. Hey, we helped the offense this week, because in college football, it's an offensive game. We all sit here, but it's an offensive game. And when your defense can make a stop, a critical stop, or take the ball away for you, those things matter because the offensive players go, yeah, the defense is playing pretty good. You don't ever want to feel like your offense, every time they go, they got to score. Because then it becomes a burden. And then the defensive players maybe aren't respected enough as the offensive players. Offensive players always get more credit. Why? Because they play with the football. And they score touchdowns. They throw touchdowns. They run touchdowns. Defensive players, if you don't get an interception or a sack, no one's talking about you. I mean, you can make 10 tackles, and they'll go, yeah, but it's not a highlight. We're in a highlight world. And so if you don't sack the quarterback or you don't get an interception, it's just defense. It doesn't matter, right? So that's the world they live in. I know it because I've been a defensive player in my lifetime, and you get what they think. So I just think when both parties realize that they need each other, they have to coexist, you're a healthier football team, and you're a better football team for that. And I think our defense has done some things this year that our offense looks at and goes, hey, those dudes are playing pretty good. And our offense knows this. They got a bunch of young guys over there playing, and they know that a couple years from now, those young guys are going to be really, really good. And so that's fun when you get those conversations going. Yes, sir.
Just to build off that, your defense, like even in this last game, UCLA goes down and scores right away, but they've done a really good job of
putting the fire out.
Yeah, putting the fire out. Yeah, can you just speak to that? Because it seems like, and then at the end of the game, you look, and almost every single game you've held a team under 30 points. So, they're limiting this.
To me, that's a bad thing. We say under 30. It's like, what do you have them 17? You hold them under some. That doesn't happen anymore. I get it. I'm old school. But no, you make a great point, and I think it's what I like about them is that when they get hit on something, they don't panic. It doesn't become like, oh, you just got hit 3 in a row. Now, the SC thing was a little bit different. I get it. But for the most part, they get settled. Danny and those guys do a great job. We go over there and sit them down, say, okay, here we go. We can fix it. Coach White's upstairs, too, and we're all communicating. And then their ability to grasp what we're asking them to do is critical. And they trust the coaches. And I said, look, because all the player wants to know, what happened? Can we fix it? I always tell coaches, you got to fix it in 30 seconds. Because you never know what's going to happen on the next play. It could be something could happen, you got to go back. So you got to fix it where then they leave the field, they go, okay, we're good. We got confidence again. Because that's a funny thing. Emotions of football is like this. And if the players leave the sideline where they feel like, we went to the sideline for 4 minutes, and we're walking back on this field as a defense, and we don't really know if we can slow these guys down. That's not a good way to go back. You better have some. I always tell the coach, you better have some answers for those kids, because they coming over there looking for answers. When their eyes get big, you better give them some answers, give them some information, so they feel confident going back. Now, what has to happen? Eventually, there's got to be some leaders in that huddle that tell them, hey, here's what's happening. I see that in a couple of them. And they're the young ones. They're starting to say, hey, come here. This is what we're doing. That's a good thing. And I think we're trying to build that in that culture of the defense. Yeah. Very good. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Back to work. Bring your rain jackets.